December 2019, and I can be as tin hatish as I want. So, if you look at lingo, slang, and the weird phrases people used from all of the decades in recorded history, like, I don't know, just look at how the cool kids would talk from all recorded time periods, like whatever hipsters or beatniks were saying back in, I don't know, the 1930s. They'd go like, oh, that's the bee's knees. Obviously, I didn't do a whole lot of research. I'm just pulling things off the top of my head. Or groovy man, or calling people cats, and stuff like that. You know, slang and jargon and the things people would say, especially if they were cool and promoted throughout the decades. Like beatnik slang, or flapper slang, or hippie slang, and whatever crap kids these days are spouting off. Like, I don't know, yeet, screed, or things I don't care about. That kind of mimetic language, it's still English, but they keep making up words on the fly, and it's by design. Now, I'm not sure how this sort of social engineering is done, but clearly it has been done throughout all of recorded history, all of the decades. I mean, look at Disco Stew from The Simpsons, or look at the chairman from Fallout New Vegas. The things they would say, the way they would talk. And that's only the stuff that's remembered. Imagine the stuff that they try to come up with that was not ever recorded and has been lost to the sands of time. This is proof that society has engineering going on with it, and the popular trendy subculture movements are all artificially engineered and pushed. The hippie movement was artificially engineered. Also, I heard that in reality, during the 1960s, hippies were living in tent communes and they were absolutely not a part of normal society. They were some fringe group. That is something that I was told. And if you look at media that was recorded in the 1960s, or even period pieces that reenact things of the 1960s, they overfocus on the hippies. Or maybe the buzz-shaved military dudes group. Society is just full of subcultures. I don't know why they're called subcultures, because they're only groups of people interested in fashion, music, aesthetics, and maybe comic books and movies. Like, for instance, the goth subculture. It's called a subculture, but goths are defined by a particular fashion, makeup, music, and other media that they like. Other than that, nothing sets them apart from anybody else other than the superficial things. Same thing with emo or furry or whatever. They're just defined by fashion and the media that they like. And we've all noticed how much technology has rapidly developed. And now I can get even more tin hatish because I can do that. So we have our children's media icons like Super Mario or Mickey Mouse or Betty Boop or Popeye or whatever. They can date back to a very, very, very long time. Felix the Cat. These are cartoons because cartoons are visual sugar. If you want to get a child's attention, make a cartoon exist. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If it's a cartoon, a child will want to see it because it's visual sugar. Live action and photographs are too raw and full of noise, and children their brains cannot handle live action and photos and raw noise. But cartoons, I mean, if you hear, like, nothing but a voice track, like if you're in one room and someone's watching a cartoon in the next room, you know it's a cartoon purely from the audio quality. You can tell from the way the voices are in the microphone and the sound design. If it was live action, you would hear more depth from several different fashions of microphones on the soundstage. That's just an example. So these cartoons, comic books, and video games are very simplistic in design because, you know, obviously children want that. It's already refined. Anyway, so that explanation aside, some of these characters date back to hundreds of years. Well, okay, not hundreds of years. I meant to say decades. But with time speeding up, who even cares? A decade is now 5 minutes. Anyway, some of them are kind of legacy characters that the owning companies are desperately trying to keep them relevant and updated, but every new year they come out with a new line of cartoons or whatever, And notice how I'm focusing on things that are specifically engineered to appeal to children. Now I can get more tinheadish. They're doing this because there is an artificial divide in our society between age groups. I remember being a child, I didn't relate well to old people. Well, it didn't help the fact that the old people I knew were baby boomers who are infamously bad. And most baby boomers come from the CIA pickle factory. They are tears and they're bad people. And that really sucks for the normal people born in that time period. It really does suck for the good people that happen to be born at the same time baby boomers were coming out of vats or something like that. It's a big shame, but real people have always been rare, and most old people are tears the same way young people are. So almost everybody of every age group is a tear, and real people are few and far between anyway. So unfortunately there's that, but if we can look past that, you'll see that there are separations between age groups. Now let's just play pretend that I'm only going to talk about real people. Now I had a hard time relating to the nice older folks who were unlucky enough to be born in the baby boom era. Too bad for them. But they didn't understand Pokemon, they didn't understand computers, and I'm like, how am I supposed to relate to you? What is there that you and I, a 50 or 70-year-old person and a 5-year-old, what is their common ground between us? Obviously, I didn't have the mental capacity to put it that way, but that's how I was thinking. I'm like, so the things that I'm interested in, you don't know what they are. I see Pokemon every day. I see video games every day. I see cartoons every day. And you say you've never heard of Pokemon in your life? How are we even going to communicate? That was my thought process back then. Now, as for the whole technology thing, that would probably be a whole different talk, and I wouldn't know where to begin with it because I am absolutely not even close to being near any sort of expert on the topic, but I am a person that can make observations and point at things and comment on them. But computers, oh, they've gone downhill. There's nothing but bloatware. You know, I long for the days of Windows XP because you could actually use things back then. I mean, okay, back in Windows XP days, you could have like 50 Firefox tabs open, no problem. I can't even have like 2 or 3 tabs open. I don't even have spyware or malware. And this is a problem with the website. I remember when websites started getting incredibly bad. It was 200 kilobytes of real actual content, 500 megabytes of pure bullshit that was nothing but aesthetic and horrible and tracking and ads and other horrible things. The way websites are is why tabs crash. I can't even keep 2 tabs open without a problem because of the content of the website. It's nothing but bloatware and polished turds. Oh man, I miss HTML. Those were the days. Yeah, I'm a grouch. I'm a grouchy, nostalgic cavewoman. You know what I mean. Cavemen aren't exactly real, but I think that's what I am. That's my job. I'm a cavewoman. Anyway, I don't even know where to begin with that, but there is an artificial divide between age groups. A part of it is making technology more of a part of everyday life. Now, past a certain point, up to a certain point, it was a good thing. Dishwashers are good. Vacuum cleaners are good. Things like that. As for automobiles, somebody else could talk about that, but I hate the way that they've become mandatory, and Cash for Clunkers was actually all about destroying cars that did not have GPS. Their cover story was they wanted to stimulate the economy, but the real reason was these perfectly good and nice cars were destroyed because they didn't have built-in tracking devices. Oh boy, I don't know where to get into the next segment, but I think technology got more bullshitty so that older people could not use it, and that younger people would go, "What are you talking about, Grandma? You don't know what this is? I can't even talk to you, Grandma. You're from a different alternate universe." I don't know.